If you're looking for movies or TV shows starring Carey Mulligan movies, you just click on the right video. Don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss out on discovering great movies and TV shows again. Number 1. An Education, 2009.
And wear black?
No, that shows you're a rebel. They don't want that at Oxford.
No, they don't want people who can think for themselves.
Oh, of course they don't.
In the early 1960s, 16-year-old Jenny Mellor lives with her parents in the London suburb of Twickenham. At the behest of her father, Jack, everything Jenny does is aimed solely at getting into Oxford, as he wants her to have a better life than he did. Jenny is intelligent, beautiful, hardworking, and naturally talented. The only problems her father may see in her life are her difficulty learning Latin and her relationship with a boy named Graham, who is kind but socially awkward. Jenny's life changes after she meets David Goldman, a man more than twice her age. David goes to great lengths to show Jenny and her family that his attraction to her is not inappropriate and that he simply wants to introduce her. Number 2. Never Let Me Go, 2010.
Found him in the woods.
With his hands and feet cut off.
Who told you these stories?
Everybody knows them.
And how do you know they're true?
You'd make up stories as horrible as that.
Although their lives seem ordinary, they eventually learn the horrifying truth they are clones, created solely to be organ donors for normal humans. Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy, 3 best friends growing up at Hailsham, a beautiful but remote English boarding school, move from school to the cottage and finally to the donor program, exploring a heartbreaking and tragic love triangle. Kathy has always loved Tommy, but the charismatic and insecure Ruth develops a relationship with him first. Years later, burdened with guilt, Ruth reveals that she separated them out of fear of being alone. Number 3. The Great Gatsby, 2013.
Mr. Gatsby, I'd like to know.
Exactly who are you, anyhow?
Unlike the socialites around him, Gatsby was known for throwing lavish and decadent parties every weekend, yet he remained a mysterious figure in his own home. Set in the vibrant summer of 1922, the story follows Nick Carraway, a Yale graduate and World War I veteran who moves to Long Island in search of his own American dream. He settles in West Egg, a nouveau riche community, right next door to the mysterious mansion of the enigmatic Jay Gatsby. Nick soon discovers that Gatsby's lavish lifestyle is merely an elaborate ruse to win back his cousin, Daisy Buchanan, who lives across the bay in East Egg with her wealthy but unfaithful husband. Number 4. Far from the Madding Crowd, 2015.
It's your uncle's will. He's left you everything. Oh, my goodness.
The first is Gabriel Oak, a humble and loyal sheep farmer who loses his own livelihood and ends up working for Bathsheba. Although his proposal is rejected, he remains her loyal friend and moral support. The second is William Boldwood, a wealthy and lonely bachelor and neighbor who becomes obsessed with her after receiving a tactless Valentine's card. The third is Sergeant Francis Troy, a dashing but reckless soldier who captivates Bathsheba with his charm and courage. Bathsheba Everdeen, a headstrong and independent young woman who inherits her uncle's large farm. Her sudden rise to wealth and status as a female landowner was rare at the time. Number 5. Suffragette, 2015.
Should not exercise judgment in political affairs.
If we allow women to vote, it will mean the loss of social structure.
A drama that tracks the story of the foot soldiers of the early feminist movement, women who were forced underground to pursue a dangerous game of cat and mouse with an increasingly brutal state. These women were not primarily from the genteel educated classes. They were working women who had seen peaceful protest achieve nothing. Radicalized and turning to violence as the only route to change, they were willing to lose everything in their fight for equality, their jobs, their homes, their children, and their lives. Maud was one such foot soldier. The story of her fight for dignity is as gripping and visceral as any thriller. It is also heartbreaking and inspirational. Number 6. Wildlife, 2018.
You know what they call trees in a forest fire? Fuel.
Struggling with a sense of failure and wounded self-esteem, Jerry decides to join a dangerous effort to extinguish a massive wildfire burning near the Canadian border, leaving his wife, Jeanette, and Joe behind. Jerry's departure becomes the catalyst for a radical change in Jeanette's personality. Feeling abandoned and restless, she begins to rebel against her traditional role as a housewife, seeking a new sense of independence that leads to an uncomfortable and complicated relationship with a local businessman. Joe is forced to play the role of unwilling witness, forced to grow up prematurely as he confronts the messy reality of his parents' shortcomings. Number 7. Promising Young Woman, 2020.
Good God almighty. You know, they put themselves in danger, girls like that.
Cassie, an emotionally scarred former medical student nearing 30, knows all too well that some wounds never heal. But time and life wait for no one, as the horrific crime involving her best friend, the once brilliant student, is still struggling to survive. However, Cassie thinks she's found the perfect way to overcome her painful past. So, at night, she visits local bars as a vulnerable and punishing figure, stalking a variety of nocturnal predators and wolves in sheep's clothing. After all, the hunted sometimes become the hunters. And then her kind old classmate Ryan shows up. He's a real badass, and he knows it. Now Cassie wants out of this situation, but everyone knows that breaking bad habits is easier said than done. Number 8. The Dig, 2021.
Should we take a look at them then?
Right. Things like this are usually done through museums.
Yes, but with the war coming, they couldn't.
While the local museum officials dismiss the site as likely containing mere Viking artifacts, Basil's intuition and meticulous work reveal something far more significant, a 90-foot Anglo-Saxon ship serving as a royal burial chamber. This discovery fundamentally challenges the contemporary understanding of the Dark Ages, proving the era was one of sophisticated culture and craftsmanship rather than primitive chaos. Set in 1939 on the brink of World War II, the film follows Edith Pretty, a wealthy widow living on a sprawling estate in Suffolk, England. Driven by a lifelong curiosity about the mysterious earth mounds on her property, she hires self-taught amateur archaeologist Basil Brown to excavate them. Number 9. She Said, 2022.
Why is sexual harassment so pervasive and so hard to address? Let's interrogate the whole system.
It begins with a tip about an abused actress, but quickly realizes the problem is systemic, involving a vast network of legal settlements and non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, designed to silence victims. She teams up with Tuhei, who brings her experience investigating similar high-profile cases. Together, they travel the world to convince traumatized women, including former employees and renowned actresses like Ashley Judd, to testify. The film follows the relentless journey of journalists Megan Tuhei and Jodie Cantor as they attempt to uncover one of the most significant stories of a generation, with decades-long allegations of abuse against Hollywood tycoon Harvey Weinstein. Number 10. Maestro, 2023.
Something she told me.
Hello, I'm Lenny.
Hello, Felicia.
A love story chronicling the lifelong relationship between cultural icons Leonard Bernstein and Felicia Montealegre Cohn Bernstein. The narrative begins with the young Bernstein's meteoric rise to fame when he made his debut with the New York Philharmonic at age 25. Shortly thereafter, he met Felicia at a party, and the two began a turbulent romance marked by a deep intellectual and emotional connection. However, the story does not shy away from the friction caused by Bernstein's complex personal life, his volatile stances, and the enormous shadow cast by his public image. As Bernstein's career reaches historic heights, from composing West Side Story to conducting a world-renowned orchestra,